These are the 12 things that you should directly do with your Quest 3 headset to unlock its full potential. So let's dive right into it. Now to start it off, after putting on and booting up your headset for the first time, then you will directly be transported into your new home environment. And this is already where we can make a big change when it comes to the customization of things. Because while the default view will show you the Horizon Central Hub down below, you can simply change these up by pressing on the 3-stripe menu button on your left controller. And once you do this, you will see a new menu pop up that is showcasing all the different types for you to choose from. So all that is left to do is just click on the one that you like, and it will change the look to its different style in just a couple of seconds. Now, even with your preferred home environment set up, you might feel like your screen looks a bit blurry. Luckily though, there is an easy fix for this, and that is by changing your IPD. So to do this, you want to use the scroll wheel on the bottom of your headset and slowly move it from the left to the right until you find the proper sweet spot that will make the screen look nice and sharp. And secondly, don't forget to clean those optics regularly with a microfiber cloth as well. And no, that is not with your t-shirt or paper towels, because not only do these often not even remove the smudges at all, they can also create permanent scratches on your lenses, which you really want to prevent. However, if after all of this you still feel like your screen is blurry, then it might be worth to upgrade to some physical lens inserts instead, especially if you also wear glasses or lenses in real life. And a great third-party example of this is something like the ones from VRWave, since these cost nearly half the price of the original options from Meta, and that while also making it easier to install, since all you have to do here is just swap them in by using the built-in magnets, meaning that this is overall a much more comfortable alternative when compared to the previous space slider option that you can find on the side of your headset. And on top of that, they also come with a blue light filter and glare reduction built into them, which can make your screen look a lot better, even if you have perfect eyesight in the first place. So either way, I'll leave the link to this example down in the description below. But with your screen now looking nice and crisp, we get to the next big change you can make, and that is regarding your boundary. Because when you are starting to walk around in virtual reality, then you will quickly start to notice this blue grid, which is warning you for your walls and furniture. However, this one often shows up pretty quickly, even while you are still far away from the object itself. But we can quickly fix this. So to do this, go into your settings and look for the environment setup. And here, click on the top boundary option and scroll all the way down until you see the room scale boundary sensitivity. But all that is left to do is just with the slider from the middle or right all the way to the left. And with that, you will still see the previously mentioned blue grid when you get too close to the border, but it will show up a lot later, giving you some extra space to play with. And if you want, you can also change up the color of the grid in here for some extra personalization. But for an even bigger change, we have to get to the next one, and that is the interface itself. Because your Quest 3 right out of the box will have the standard dark mode turned on while using the so-called basic Horizon UI. However, there are some alternative options out there that can change your overall experience quite drastically. For example, in the experimental section of your settings, you can find the option named Enable Navigator. And once you manage to turn this on, after restarting your headset once, then you will see a completely overhauled UI that kind of resembles the looks of something like the Apple Vision Pro much more closely. But if you prefer the more old school style, then you can also change up things from this one specifically. And to do that, head over to the display and brightness, in which you will see the possibility to switch between the dark and light mode. And on top of that, you can also find options like night mode and adaptive brightness in here. Or if you're having struggles with reading the small text on your screen, then you can also choose to enlarge or minimize it by adjusting the size just below this. But after all that customization of your UI and the home itself, the next thing you will want to check out are the games, of course. And it is also good to know that your Quest 3 already comes with some stuff pre-installed on it. And a great example is First Encounters, since this is a great introduction to a simple controller-based mixed reality experience that lets you shoot some furballs in your living room. And the second game is known as First Hands, and this lets you ditch those controllers and instead lets you manipulate your environment by using the hand tracking feature, which makes these overall just a great way to get used to virtual reality. But once you're done with both, then it is time to head over to the Horizon store page. Now here, you will find a bunch of virtual reality and mixed reality games, as well as even some free titles too. Although, one important thing to keep in mind here are the so-called intensity levels, and these can go from comfortable to really intense. So while you might directly want to jump into an experience like Deadpool VR when you first get your VR headset, you will then most likely experience something called motion sickness. So to prevent this, it is highly recommended to first get used to VR by starting with some more chill comfort titles. And a great popular example of this is something like Beat Saber, since in here, you'll simply be slashing some blocks on the rhythm of some awesome tunes. But there are also a bunch of sports games out there that could qualify as such titles as well. Think about 11 Table Tennis, which is a ping pong simulator that lets you play against people from across the world. Or even All-in-One Sports, which lets you play a bunch of different games, similar to how Wii Sports was in the past. And best of all, that one is actually completely free. Now, of course, you will also notice that some of the better games are often paid titles. But don't forget that you can still always use code VRelity to get up to 20% discount on literally any MetaQuest store game. And secondly, you can also get $30 of free store credit with your Quest headset. And this, you could spend however you want. So I will leave a link for that in the description below, so that you can make sure not to miss out on that. But besides playing all these titles yourself, you might also want to record some of your gameplay. However, when you press that big record button for the first time, you will quickly notice that the video gets saved in this low quality square aspect ratio. But like always, we can easily fix that. So to do this, head into your settings and go to the camera tab and scroll all the way down until you see the aspect ratio. And this is normally set to square, but you want to change this to landscape to get that full screen recording. And secondly, also make sure to up the bitrate all the way to 14, which will make that overall video look a lot more high quality. And don't forget, of course, that if possible, you also want to get those frames per second from the base 30 up to 60, since this will make your footage look much more smooth. And lastly, a common problem for a lot of users is that they notice some black bars in their recordings on their side of their screen. Now, a quick solution for this is that you want to go to the image stabilization and switch it off completely. And in that way, you will now have all the best settings for recording inside your headset. But maybe instead of recording, you simply want to share your first-person view with some other devices like a TV. And this can also be done by using the built-in casting feature. So, if you want to cast to any device, just click on the camera icon and then press on the big casting button. Now after that, just select the device that you want to cast to and you're ready to go. However, if for some reason your device doesn't show up here, you could then also always go to the website named horizon.meta.com/casting and follow the steps that you see on screen afterwards. And once done, your device should finally show up in this overview. But moving on, besides just gaming, you can also use your headset to watch movies or series directly. And by far the quickest way to do this is to open up your web browser and look up your streaming service, like Netflix for example. And when you're done with logging in, then you can simply watch your favorite shows on a massive screen in front of you. Although, a great upgrade here is that when you click on the enlarge button in the lower right corner, then you will also find a bunch of extra new options here to enhance your experience. Think about things like turning your brightness lower of your surroundings so that you can really focus on that screen. Or even the possibility to add a curve to your display itself to give you a truly immersive cinema view. Although, if you truly want to use your Quest headset as your computer, then it will probably be better to get something like Virtual Desktop, since this, instead of just using your built-in browser, will actually transport any of your computer screens inside VR directly. And that means it could let you do things like work or play flat screen games, or even give you the option to use it for PC VR. But that is not all, because there are also some important hidden features on the Meta Quest 3 headset that you need to know about. So click on the video that you see on screen right now to make sure you don't miss out on that. And of course, stay awesome.